time we played them late in the season. What are your thoughts on playing the Wildcats for the third time?
We played them tough the second time at home. We still turned the ball over too much. I mean, and I think it was a 6-7 point ball game. Can't remember exactly the final. And I think that's a point for us is like, okay, they're good. If we can just take care of the ball a little bit more, obviously, we feel like we can give a good run because of the confidence we got the last time at them.
All right, Coach, dry off a little bit, and we look forward to getting back at it tomorrow.
Thank you.
That was Illini Nancy Fahey, Fighting Illini women's.
All right, everyone. Thank you for your patience while we wrapped up the radio interview. Coach, we're going to start with questions from Shannon Ryan from the Chicago Tribune. If anybody else has questions, would you please just drop a quick note in the chat, and I'll go to you in order. Thanks.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Shannon.
Okay, thanks. So, I mean, you said this is a statement win. I'm just wondering, after some struggles this season, what this means to you guys. You mentioned that confidence too. I'm just curious what this can mean.
It's a statement. I mean, we know where we are at. We got a ways to go, but the statement is we came in here ourselves. I'm not trying to say it outwardly, but to go into a locker room, okay, and keep preaching and keep working in an environment that I think some people, you could have stopped. You could have not, went, okay, it's been a lot of tough things. Our statement was to ourselves, like we can fight, if we execute and come out and play that type of intensity, we can play a game like that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Next, we're going to go to Jeremy Warner with Illini Inquirer.
Hey, Nancy, just take me in. What was that celebration like? You said you got them by surprise.
Well, I want to know who first started the water celebration, okay? Because I'd like to talk to that person. In our situation, there's not many times, and I just kind of get used to walking into the locker room. And I walked in like I walk into other, my typical. So when I got hit, it seemed like they had an excess of water. I don't know. It just seemed like it wouldn't stop. But, it was fun. They deserved it. I think they got themselves, we've been watching the men's celebration. See, it's kind of hard, what are you going to do?
I was going to ask, so obviously this means something, getting your first Big Ten tournament win and getting back-to-back wins over conference opponents, I think for the first time. Like, what can that do for a team, not just this weekend, Nancy, but long haul?
When you work, let's face it, when you look up and the scoreboard says you won, it just creates a different environment. It keeps momentum. That's why it's so important that Minnesota game was. I don't know, if that Minnesota game would have turned out if we had a little more momentum. I think that's the key. It's like it rolls on each other. The confidence starts rolling. And we've had situations where, we could have stopped, and that's what I keep stressing to the team. Last time we played them, we were kind of beat up in the middle of the year. We didn't have two or three players, and now we've got our full complement. And I just think they're kind of getting in the groove of playing with each other. This, the connectivity of playing with each other. Groove is probably not an old word, so let's change that to connectivity, and making extra passes. So that was key.
Through the losses, did you see this building towards the end of the year?
I think that when you have adversity, you have choices and you have moments that happen throughout where you challenge, where you may feel like, oh my, are we gonna make it through it? And the challenges that do that, you just know that I've won a lot, and I know what it feels like now when you go after several losses, and you find your character and you have a choice. It's fun when you're going through COVID and all this stuff and winning. It feels a little bit better than going through all that COVID stuff and doing what we did. And so they're really, really tough kids. And, I'm happy for them that they got rewarded through all that toughness, because as you know, sometimes people just stop and fold it, and they didn't.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks, Jeremy. Coach, next we're going to go to Joe Vizzelli from the News Gazette.
Hi, Coach. Congrats on the win. I guess just what was the key to the defensive intensity that you were able to have at the beginning of the game to hold them scoreless for almost the entire quarter?
You know, you have, at this time of year, you'll have different schemes. You may, you know, when your ball screen schemes. And what happened at Minnesota is we were able to adjust to ball screen schemes, and we did it as a team. We were all on the same page. And when we came out today, we did have to adjust. I mean, we started one way, Wisconsin went back to, you know, try to counter our move, and then our kids countered again. Quite frankly, they'll drive the ball right at you. And if you don't sit down and have good team coverage, you know, they're going to get to the line, or they're going to score. And our kids just decided the key to that is challenging them in the locker room. I mean, I challenged them. I said, you're never going to know what this is going to be like if you don't give it all. You're never going to know. So you got to know, and you got to risk it, and be brave to risk it. And they did.
I know Aaliyah was someone that was kind of coming back when you played them the first time, I believe. And what was kind of the key to maybe her development this season and seeing her get the production that she had in this game tonight?
She had the production all year. I think that she just has been battling that foot injury throughout the year. I mean, she's still playing tough, and it still hurts. And I think it was just a matter of getting her game time, you know, letting the doctors release her. And when she released, she just took it and is battling through. You know, and I think Coach Skeet has done a good job with her, you know, when to drive, when to look for your shots. I think that's helped her gain her confidence also.
And last one, did you kind of sense this in the week building up to practice, maybe in a level of intensity or something? Because, I mean, this is one of your most complete games that you've had here at Illinois.
You know, I've done this long enough, Joe, that you'd like to think that you have. Sometimes you can put it together and go, hey, they're ready to go. I could tell in the locker room. I mean, we practice well, but, you know, you can't grind it out really hard with 2-day prep, and hopefully you're playing more than one game. But you could feel it in the locker room. And that's coming from the leadership in there. And that felt good.
Thank you for the time.
Thanks, Coach. Next, we're going to Scott Beatty with WDWS.
Coach, congrats on your win. Do you have a sense, well, there was a moment late in the game that you could catch on TV where it looked like Kennedy Miles was getting emotional and Eva was comforting her. Is there anything you could share about that? Because it looked like they were this was a big moment for them.
I think I overheard her. This is big. This is big. They needed this. I mean, and they earned it. And you're right. There was an emotional moment. We've been working really hard to break through, win a Big Ten game, and we talked about that. We haven't done it. And so in the last 3 or 4 years, so you hit it right on. I don't know exactly, but you know, they've been here since, I mean, end of June, you know, and that's 8 months, and they've been going after it. And like I said, that emotion of all those things, if you imagine the ups and downs of this year, I can understand her emotion. And
it seems like that they're not only playing for each other, but that they're playing for you too. I mean, you mentioned the word connectivity.
Yeah, I mean, we hope we're all part of it. I think the coaches, we've been in with them, we've been working, and it is a we. It's not anybody. I mean, but you know, in the reality of it, they're the ones that went out there, and they're the ones that you can scheme all you want, but if the kids don't complete it, don't believe in it, and you know, try to pack it in at this time of year, they didn't, and that's a credit to them.
Congrats! Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks. And the last person I have in the queue for questions right now is Claire O'Brien with the Daily Illini. If anybody else has a last minute question for Coach to follow Claire, let me know.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Nancy. It's Claire O'Brien from the Daily Illini. My question for you is, what were some of the adjustments that you made after the second quarter? Because you started off really strong against Wisconsin. The second quarter was a little tighter. What adjustments did you make?
Wisconsin adjusted offensively. I mean, defensively, they started packing it in a little bit more in our decisions. What was happening is we'd run a hit, and then if the hit didn't work or play, then we wouldn't continue ball movement. We'd stop, and we looked like we were going a little bit one-on-one. And what we just told them, I said, people are going to run plays. It may not get you what you actually want. It causes the movement. And when the movement occurs, you got to keep going. And they were stopping and trying to go one-on-one. And we got back to, hey, move the ball, use each other, get the ball inside and out. Then it'll work for you. And that was our adjustment.
Yeah. And then my last question for you, do you have any thoughts on the upcoming Northwestern game?
It's going to be a long night of prep, and we're excited that we get to play tomorrow. And, like I said, we thought we played them tough last game, so hopefully we can bring that same toughness tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good. And Coach, just real quick, Rob McCauley, did you have anything for Coach today?
Sure. A little bit more about Northwestern, Nancy. I'm going to force you to do the quick turn thing. What about their previous game gives you hope that you can be successful tomorrow? The previous game that you had against Northwestern.
To be honest, it was, I think, 6 or 7 points under 5 minutes. It was a close game. We went up to their place. They're very explosive. They can get you to, when you start turning the ball over and let them just score, they score quick. And you have to keep them in a half-court game. So if we can go back and keep them in that half-court game, take care of the ball, that gives us, let's face it, if you've gotten beat by 22 times in a row coming in, it's going to be a little tougher mentally, right? Well, we played with them. I know they're going to be up for us, but that gives us, something to build on. It's kind of like the Minnesota game, build on it. First and second Northwestern game, build on it.
I think you had 16 turns today. Were you satisfied with the ball handling?
Yeah, I think when you get up like that, it's like you have to be careful not to play to win, not to lose. And you could, there's a couple sections right there where you could feel them like, you could feel them start going, like you see their hands going like, we need to take, we actually have to manage the clock now. You have to find that balance of still being aggressive, but not, taking really quick shots to allow Wisconsin to get back in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coach Fahey, thanks. I think that's all the questions we had for you in the queue today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone, if you'll hold on, I will have Aaliyah Nye joining us next, and then we'll have Kennedy Miles after Aaliyah.